Hey guys, DragonHeir Silent Gods, the beta is only a few days away, and yeah, everyone's getting pretty excited, and there was an announcement only 2 days ago with an update, and I wanted to cover this today. I left it a couple days because I wanted to soak in the information and think about it a bit more. But let's have a look. This is another exhaustive bunch of notes, so go to the official Discord and check it out if you're interested in seeing it yourself. There's also a lovely community of people there who are very helpful answering questions, so big thanks to all the mods that are helping everyone out. It's a really, really nice community going on. So ask your questions there if you need help, but do try and check the FAQ first to save them a bit of effort. Anyway, let's go over this notice. If you want to check out the Discord, I will leave links in the description below. But to start things off, I'll just read through this. I'll go through each point and then give my thoughts on it afterwards. So, greetings travelers, we're delighted to be welcoming you back again. We cordially invite you to be the first to experience our Bugs game once again. We shared an unforgettable adventure together in Adenphia just 4 months ago. The heroic deeds of our travelers have spread far and wide throughout Adenphia's denizens, and the development team alike. With this latest version, many of your suggestions and criticisms have been taken on board, and we've made changes and improvements. Thanks to your help, we are making a better world, so once more we extend to you our heartfelt thanks. Over these past 4 months, the development team has been blazing away, aiming to make DragonHeir even more unique, and Adenphia has changed dramatically along with it. We are aware these might be disruptive, so we wanted to share these changes and adjustments with you ahead of time. Okay, cool, so that's a nice little preface, and let's kick things off with the first change, heroes and combat. We've added 50 brand new heroes, but not all of them will feature in Closed Beta Test 2 for now. As of Closed Beta Test 2, we have over 110 heroes, hopefully offering our travelers even greater freedom of choice. For the time being, our Closed Beta Test 2 version, hero bases include Summon, Dauntless, Rally, Wild, Poison and Frost, excluding Burn and Electric Shock heroes, which will be gradually introduced in later seasons, but we will not find them in Closed Beta Test 2. And Adjustment Rationale. This is what I absolutely love, just to break from reading out the text. They have given their reasons for all of the points in this. There are 3 different key sections to this notice, and every single one of them has a very detailed adjustment rationale explaining their reasoning as a dev team behind it, which I think is really nice. I hope they continue doing that. Previously, Fire Element had 2 bases, Wild and Burn, and Lightning Element as well had Dauntless and Electric Shock. Because heroes of the same element could possess 2 different bases, assembling teams of heroes sharing the same bases proved difficult. Thus, to make obtaining heroes with bases that synergize well together more convenient for everyone, we have condensed down the hero pool for Fire and Lightning heroes, but don't fret, the heroes cut for now will return in the open beta test or later seasons. We have also buffed some rare and epic heroes, and there are also heroes with versatile bases capable of both supporting and defensive roles. Travelers should have no trouble building a complete combat-ready team, able to handle most combat situations. We'll go over the rest of this next, but first let's talk about this. So basically, in the previous versions people have played, there were 8 elements, I believe. These 6 plus Burn and Shock. But for this test version that's coming out in 3 days' time, they have taken Burn and Electric Shock out of the pool. But their reasoning is if you now split Fire heroes between Wild and Burn, and you want to make a team where maybe you have 3 Fire heroes or 5 Fire heroes, a bunch of them will synergize if they're Wild heroes, and then a bunch of others will synergize if they're Burn heroes, and it means it's kind of hard to get a consistent team if half of them are pulling one way and the other half are pulling the other way. So I generally do understand what they're doing there. I'm not too sure about the purpose of taking them out of the beta test, unless they're trying to think of ways to solve this problem in the meantime, is all I could assume. I think the better way of handling it is just to make it so they're not mutually exclusive, in my opinion. Have Wild heroes who can also inflict Burn. I mean, maybe they're a bit strong, but you can tune them, right? Just they're a bit more versatile and they can fit in multiple teams. So maybe they should look at having bridging heroes would be my suggestion, because otherwise it kind of becomes a little bit bland if, what's the point in having these sub things if every hero has to be them anyway? I like the idea that there are different types of Fire heroes. I think that's quite cool. And I think they don't necessarily have to isolate them so much. So, for example, someone on the Discord has pointed out that Necrosis are the summoners, but what if you don't want to just summon undead? What if you want to summon elementals or panthers or other things? It kind of makes sense that maybe you could have Wild heroes who were Radiant or stuff like that. I don't know, maybe it's going a bit too far, but I don't know where they're going with this otherwise. I think either make these not exclusive to elements, or, maybe in certain scenarios they're not exclusive, or make it so that there are heroes who bridge between multiple of these kind of side effects per element. So you have a Wild Burn hero or a Dauntless hero who applies Electric Shock. I don't know. I'm not sure what they're going to do otherwise. So I'm curious to see how they resolve this issue, because I do see what they're getting at here. So I'll be interested to see in the open beta test, or even in the later released seasons, how they handle this. But that's one to watch. Long story short, it just means that Burn and Electric Shock are not going to be in this closed beta. Anyway, moving on. In closed beta test 2, Ademphia, elemental affinity changes radically with the implements of plane rotation. Affinities between ice and poison, fire and radiance, necrosis and lightning are higher than ever before. Teaming up heroes of the paired elements will lead to welcome surprises on the battlefield. They're just saying that the affinity bonus of having 3 or 5 pairings is going to be a bit stronger in this beta test. I'm guessing it's something they're going to tweak over time to see where the balance lies, because they want to encourage us to use teams that are affinity focused and not just ignore the system, but they need to make it not too strong. So the rationale they've given is, we're always striving to offer you fulfilling strategy options and a wide variety of builds. We're keen on offering you fresh experiences with each beta. So closed beta test 2 will feature brand new elemental affinity effects. Notably, the rules of the elemental affinity will change with each new season. It's our hope that the regular rotation of elemental affinities will create a richer experience for everyone, as well as justify the value of each hero. I like this a lot. I don't know if this is necessarily an explanation of why they've made them stronger, but that's fine. This is kind of just explaining the system in place, I believe. They're just saying that they will change the rotations. So maybe at the moment Fire and Radiance line up, but then maybe next season it becomes Fire and Necrosis instead. So I think that's cool. I'm looking forward to that change. And I guess they'll just keep tweaking the values of how much benefit you get from having an elemental affinity. I do suspect there'll be certain heroes who are just so good that you use them anyway and you sacrifice the 5 benefit, but we'll see. Every hero's design has been perfected, adding to their population, class and alignment, providing them with full backstories. And should they become companions, they'll engage in chatter with you at the camp and in the sandbox, with some heroes expressing their thoughts on the journey so far. Brackets, thanks to the players who made this recommendation in the last beta. So they are actually listening to feedback on the Discord and feedback provided by players, so that's really nice. The adjustment rationale, we wanted the hero companions that players engage with to be genuine, living denizens of Ademphia, each with their own unique histories. To give travelers a better grasp of companion stories and to understand the customs of Ademphia through them, we've added the aforementioned content with the intention of offering a more immersive experience. So this is kind of just more focus on their RPG elements. They want the characters to feel like parts of the world, which I think ultimately will be quite nice. I like the idea that they're part of the world rather than just a guy who looks cool. We've added a new hero attribute called Enlightenment, so this is a stat tweak. It provides a new dimension to hero development by adding bonuses to non-critical damage and to some healing shield effects. So it's kind of one of those strange stats that I think is going to be a bit hard to understand. I'm really hoping they release the formulas for these kind of things. It's really nice to be able to accurately calculate things outside of the game. I'm not sure how this will scale exactly. I think it's going to be a flat number and it will just increase stuff, but we don't know how much. Because if it's increasing a bunch of different things, it's probably not super linear, but we'll have to experiment and see how this works. The rationale they've given is, this is aimed for achieving the pursuit of hero attributes a more fruitful one. I think they mean making the pursuit of hero attributes a more fruitful one. So while also offering players varied attributes on different heroes. No more bland focus on attack and crit. By adding Enlightenment, we hope to offer players new focus on hero development and a more fruitful, rewarding development experience overall. So I think they're just trying to make some more options viable. If you have a DPS hero, they're not just attack and crit focused. If they also provide some self-sustained healing or healing to allies, then you could focus them on Enlightenment instead of just attack and crit. You can give them attack and Enlightenment and then forego the crit route but improve their healing is what I assume that focus is more aimed towards. Anyway, that covers the heroes and combat section. Pretty good. They seem to be listening to feedback and they're trying to really focus in on their elemental system, so I'm keen to see how that goes. It'd be fun to experiment with that when it comes out. So moving on, we've revamped and iterated the EXP Dungeon, something that will significantly improve travelers' battles against goblins. After the closed beta test 2 concludes, the EXP Dungeon won't be a tower defense anymore, instead being a horde mode featuring continuously refreshing waves of monsters. To say after closed beta test concludes, I assume this change would be in when we're playing, but this sounds like after we finish this season they will change it. But I'm assuming that's not the case, otherwise they wouldn't have mentioned it. So I'm assuming it is now going to be a horde mode featuring goblins instead. So the rationale they've given, tower defense is classic, fun-filled gameplay, characterized by strong strategy and playability. However, considering the XP dungeons need to be farmed a great many times, gameplay would become incredibly tedious. Plus, the need for manual play and concentration would be a huge source of stress in the long term. For this reason, we've changed the XP Dungeon gameplay into one that requires less manual effort and is easily automated. Not to say that tower defense is vanishing, you'll find it all over the place in every corner of the sandbox map, in stronghold conflicts, and all kinds of places travelers won't expect. When facing these strangers, adventurers must be prepared, carefully and effectively deploy before battle, use precise actions and rational team composition to tackle every challenge. So in short, they have a tower defense mode which is fairly simple, but you need to manually place your heroes and you can't auto it. I'm not sure why you couldn't auto it, to be fair, because it should be consistent every time. If it's seeded and it's a consistent layout and, you know, consistent effects and spawns, then you would assume that you should be able to auto it. But anyway, they've decided to make it a more of a horde mode where you have to fight through hordes of goblins instead of making it a tower defense. They want it to be less manual focused so you can just auto it easily, because this is probably going to be a big part of the game. We're going to be doing this quite a lot. Probably one of the first videos I make will actually be discussing XP, as I do have some stats I want to show you guys that I think are going to be really helpful. I think this is going to be an incredibly important part of the game, so I think it's a good decision to keep in mind that players are going to want to have regular gameplay events be more auto, especially in an auto battle focused game. So I think that's a smart decision, but it's nice they haven't got rid of the tower defense aspect and it's still going to be in the game. Though if it's only on the sandbox, then in my opinion it won't be very important. If it's not in a dungeon, then it's kind of just an event rather than a continuous thing that you need to farm and you need to focus on building teams for. So it seems like it's kind of becoming an afterthought. It will still exist, but maybe it's not too important anymore. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. Okay, next we have updated and upgraded most of the Elemental Ascension dungeons and equipment dungeons. Everything in the dungeons, from the boss appearance to the gameplay mechanics, has been comprehensively overhauled. We hope the upgraded audio, visual effects and gameplay mechanics will breathe new life into your dungeons. Since elemental dungeons are equipped with mechanics that buff and resist one element, travelers will need to be diligent, ensure you develop diverse teams ready to handle stages of different elements. The rationale provided, we want DragonHeir to offer a richly rewarding environment for trial and error that encourages travelers to place emphasis on horizontal character development, focusing on the characteristics of hero skills, elemental affinities and bases. Changes to the Elemental Ascension dungeons are intended to improve the current dungeon experience. They'll also help prepare for richer gameplay and test environments to come in future. Furthermore, adjustments to equipment dungeons and rune dungeons, as well as tweaks to dungeon boss skill mechanics, are in place to ensure all our travelers understand each DragonHeir hero has their own unique value against different opponents. The fun of synergizing skills, elemental affinities and bases is what we truly aim to offer to all travelers. Adventure and strategy are DragonHeir's only tags. In the upcoming Closed Beta Test 2 season, there is neither a sole answer to strength or weakness, nor will there be for each upcoming season. All of us in the development team have been extremely hands-on at playing DragonHeir ourselves and testing whether our design is delivering the fun we expect it to. I'll take this chance to drop a sneaky hint. There are a few epic heroes, not legendary, that are key to overcoming tough nuts like the Blood Prince and Deadly Harpy. As for who, you can find out for yourself and tell us in Closed Beta Test 2. I don't know. I can't tell you. I'm sorry, I don't know yet. I haven't played it enough to figure that out. I haven't tried them all either. But they definitely have some good epic heroes in the game that will definitely be very valuable. I'm imagining it's going to be either a turn bar reducer or someone who oh, for the Blood Prince, I think I know. There's I think there's a character you get quite early, a troll guy with a hawk. I think he can prevent healing. I think the Blood Prince is the boss that does healing based on the damage he does. Like, he hits everyone and he heals himself based on the number of enemies he hits. So I think if you have the troll guy, you can debuff and prevent healing. So maybe that's what they mean. There are healing prevention heroes that are epic, and I think they'll be very useful for the Blood Prince. That's my guess I'm staking. I don't know about the Deadly Harpy. As for the rest of this, because this was quite a big block, it just sounds like they're kind of focusing heavily on making it so that you can't have one team. There's no one size fits all. You will need to build varied teams. I especially like that you need to farm the element dungeons to level up your heroes, right? Once you get them to the max of their level, you need to spend X amount of the elemental stones, runes, whatever they're called, to progress them to the next bracket and then level them up further. But to do that, you need to beat their corresponding elements dungeon, and they are not very effective in that dungeon. They have a reduced amount of damage output. So you will need to build other teams to make sure that you can farm for, you know, those teams. So you can't just have one size fits all. You'll need to build different teams in order to progress further through the game. So that's cool. I'm not too sure how this will fit in with the nature of seasons. If we've only got 3 months to build all these varied teams, it's going to be quite tough, I think. But we'll see how that goes, because these are going to be resetting. The currencies from that will reset, and if heroes do return to level 1, then it's going to be quite a lot to do in 3 months. You got to build your XP teams to fight the Horde mode to level up your heroes. Then you need to build the element teams so that you can actually promote them to get them to the higher levels. And then you need to build your equipment teams to farm gear. And like, it's a lot to do in 3 months. So I'm very interested to see the pace of how we get through all of that, because it is a lot, especially when you bear in mind you can't build one team. You need to have multiple teams most likely. So maybe the meta will be on dynamic heroes who are not necessarily needed. It might be easier to focus on a free elemental synergy and then have 2 heroes who can be used in any team, like a healer, for example, or a debuffer or something like that. I think that's what I might consider playing with. As this is quite a long video, let's get on with it. Third point, rewards and seasons. We've added our new season gameplay to closed beta test 2, the rules for which will be posted separately in official communities, so look out for that on the Discord. Compared with the first beta test, which was a 30-day duration, this season will last approximately 3 months. Accordingly, the pace of in-game reward distribution will also be drastically altered. The probability of summoning legendary heroes with Heliolite dice, so advanced hero summoning item, will be increased to 3%, I believe up from 2%. So 3% is a really generous number, but we're not done yet. Additionally, a legendary hero will be guaranteed in 35 draws. So the pity is 35, not 200, not 100, 35 is the pity in this game. And it's not 0.5% for a legendary, it's 3%. However, as a result, Heliolite dice will become more valuable and thus much rarer. So the rates are better, but they are significantly rarer. Heliolite dice offered by main quests and the Book of Adventure will be markedly reduced. Only a small quantity will be available from main quests. However, travelers can obtain a wealth of Wire Marrow from various quests and dailies. Wire Marrow can be used to purchase Heliolite dice in the shop. So this is one of those things where we need to see the monetization to see how restricted we are in these dice versus how much you can buy. That's up to the individual. Everyone has a different perspective on monetization. So we'll see what people say, we'll see what the model is, we don't know yet. Once the season concludes, you will receive a veritable bounty of rewards in accordance with your performance. All those goodies will make the next season even more enjoyable. The quantity of Starlight Dice, which is the basic hero summoning item available, has been significantly increased. Through using Starlight Dice to summon many epic heroes, travelers will be well positioned to handle most dungeons. We have removed the Day 7 and Day 14 legendary hero logins. Instead, travelers will now receive epic heroes on Day 3, so it sounds like many, not just one, but we'll see. To ensure a better experience for our closed beta test 2 players, we will issue these website pre-registration rewards in advance. Gold, dice, legendary heroes, etc. can be obtained by fulfilling certain criteria. I'm going to go over this first before the rationale, because there's kind of a lot in there I'd like to cover. So first off, I think this is fantastic. 3% chance for the legendaries from the Heliolite dice is really nice, and a pity of 35 is very nice as well. So if you do hit pity, you are kind of unlucky, but not excessively unlucky. Expect it to be common to hit pity at 35 draws. It just all depends on how rare the actual dice are, and then obviously how cheap they are to buy. My personal opinion is, we're playing a gacha, we know it's pay to win, right? No one should be under any illusion that it is anything but pay to win. You kind of, in my opinion, the best way to play them is to set your own milestones, to set your own goals. No point competing with someone who's spending money because you're not playing the same game. You can compete as a free-to-play, but obviously there's going to be a lot of restrictions on how far you'll get. My personal preference is that if you're going to make a game pay to win, don't make it cheap. I don't want to feel like, oh, if I just spent five pounds, then I would get this legendary hero. And then it becomes an infinite scaling thing where, especially games with seasonal rewards where it's very important to ladder and to chart on the leaderboard, when it becomes like, oh, if I spent £10, I could, get this much further. The reason I don't like that is it's kind of insidious, as most of these gachas are. Everyone will think that. And then they will compete with each other on the leaderboard, which is entirely why the leaderboard exists. And it kind of just encourages spending and spending and spending, and it's all in small increments that are highly effective. I hope it's not too cheap, personally, because I don't want to feel forced to spend money, and I don't want other people to feel like, I can't really enjoy the game unless I'm spending. I think these games are better when there's a handful of whales on the server that everyone knows are big spenders, and then you have some lighter spenders who get some benefit, but not a crazy amount of benefit. That being said, that's just my opinion. Everyone plays these games differently, everyone enjoys games differently. But in general, I like the idea. We just have to see the monetization model, because that could heavily influence how this works. So hopefully we do get enough Heliolite dice that you can still pull stuff, and hopefully it's not so easy to just buy loads of them as well. Though you can buy them with the Wire Marrow currency, which you get a lot through questing. I don't know how much you can get through the store. So yeah, we'll see how this works out. I think this is, on paper, a really nice change, but I do want to see how this interfaces with the payment model. I think that's going to be one of the most important things. But on paper, at the gist of it, without knowing anything else, I like the idea quite a lot. The season rewards, again, I really want to see what this looks like. I want to see what position do you need to poll to get rewards. Is it a fixed number of slots? Is it a percentage of players? Yeah, we'll have to see how that shapes up. But I think that's going to be incredibly important because that's going to be a lot of motivation for players to compete and to play the game. So yeah, I hope it's not too punishing. It would be super cool if they made seasonal rewards guild-based or alliance-based. That way you were kind of working together as a group and you weren't like feeling like shut out of the game because you're not spending. So I like... Maybe they can split the season rewards amongst a few things. Individual, server, guild, alliance. I like the idea of something like that, but we'll see what they do. We have no idea yet, or at least I have no idea yet. Starlight dice being increased is quite a good idea. This seems to be focused on making us use epic heroes more, giving us a greater access to epic heroes. I think that's a good idea. I don't like it when games become just legendary heroes. I like the idea that we'll actually have a bunch more epic heroes to play with that we can use. That being said, from the beta I played before, legendary heroes could be upgraded by giving them a duplicate. It would only grant them stats, but it's quite a bit of stats. Epic heroes could not. I think they should maybe allow us to do that with epic heroes as well. Anyway, let's move on to their rationale. Maybe they explain away some of the things I just mentioned. So this is a season beta where the data will not be erased. So bear that in mind. This is basically a soft launch. The closed beta test 2 server is not going to be erased. All heroes acquired will be permanently retained. Compared to the closed beta test 1 impermanent test, we've cut down on the rewards a little to ensure greater longevity and enjoyment of the game. Of course, we hope that players will take full advantage of the longer 3-month test duration to really sink your teeth into the build experience. We don't want login rewards to influence players' choices. During the first test, almost all players mainly developed the rewarded legendary heroes. That makes a lot of sense, that's smart. You want people to actually use epic heroes. So I think that makes a lot of sense. You don't want people to just rely on all the legendaries. You want them to try out all the heroes so you can get as much data as possible to balance things. Rather, we want players to enjoy varied creative team composition strategies. Makes sense. In replacing many rewards with the common Wiramarrow currency, we hope to give travelers more freedom of choice. They can choose whether to use them to purchase skill scrolls and enhance existing heroes, or exchange them for summoning items to acquire more heroes. We're all summoning. You know it, we know it. We're just going to summon. We want shiny stuff. We've significantly increased the quantity of Starlight dice. With this, we hope you'll acquire more epic heroes and strive for more complete, versatile elemental builds and team compositions to provide an engaging, fruitful experience, brackets, when compared to closed beta test 1, in which many teams were heavily dependent on legendary heroes, making the experience threshold too high. Makes sense. In addition to the aforementioned content, we've added a host of other features. I don't really have anything else to say about this. It's kind of fair. I get their reasoning. I think it makes sense. Yeah, we'll just play it and see what happens. I like that we'll have more varied rosters. Giving away certain legendaries on these daily logins, I think is cool. Maybe it's more fun if we have different teams to each other rather than all having the same heroes, right? I like the idea that they're replacing it with currency. Give us our own luck, you know? So finally, in addition to the aforementioned content, we've added a host of other features. We have reset and optimized the game's opening chapters, the overall Chaos Universum experience, and the staging of subsequent chapters. The storyline and gameplay in the forest and plains regions have been totally overhauled. Let me just slide over to the right. We've also added plenty of new gameplay features, added 2 NPC related systems, challenge and relationship, new PvE mode, 2 travelers fight alongside each other, so you can pair up with a friend to fight. That sounds really cool. New time limited real-time PvP, friendly sparring, Alliance, Alliance War, Seasons, and more. Stay tuned to the community news for more details. Travelers, we look forward to joining you in Adenphia once again for closed beta test 2. So, that's a whole load of stuff to just throw on at the end there. It's not minor, those are quite big. This is, to me, it's like RPG fluff. I don't care too much, but I'm sure it's nice. The challenge and relationship system for NPCs. But the thing I'm actually quite psyched about are these 3 in particular. But some of those are actually quite big. But anyway, these 3. New team PvE mode. Fighting alongside a friend sounds so cool to me. I hope this is a big mode. Imagine like you and your friend have been playing the game and he's pulled a bunch of summon heroes and you've pulled a bunch of poison heroes or whatever. You can kind of use each other's teams to help you get through this because maybe one of you is better at handling a certain part of the boss and your friend is better at dealing with hordes. It'd be kind of cool to feel the benefit playing with your friend and pairing up with different friends to try different strategies out. I like the idea of that a lot. I hope it becomes a bigger thing. These are multiplayer games, so I hope they don't shy away from focusing on it. Time limited real-time PvP modes. This could be quite interesting. Real-time PvP is always kind of a more engaging form of PvP. I find them a bit more tiring. Personally, I like to play these games quite chill, but it's cool that they have something like that. It adds a level of competition and a level of strategy. Friendly sparring, I think, is really, really, really cool. This is a great way to test things and to understand how mechanics work. You can just do test fights with a friend. Maybe one of you has a dominant strategy team, and together you can find out the weaknesses or ways to break that team or break that strategy, and then you can use it in arena yourselves. So I like that kind of stuff a lot. I think that's awesome. So those are the 3 things that I'm most keen on. The alliance is kind of a system where you can band together and form an alliance on your server between groups of people. I'm not sure if it's guilds or if it's just friends, but it's cool. But then they have alliance wars. So this is maybe some kind of guild war structure. I'm not too sure. Maybe alliance is just what a guild is. Maybe they're not separate. Maybe that's just what they call guilds in this game. And there are guild wars via alliance wars. I'm not too sure. Maybe I've missed a notice. But yeah, it's cool that they have that already. This is the closed beta test 2, and they already had real-time PvP. They have what might be guild wars. They have sparring between friends. They have a co-op PvE mode. I mean, that's a lot of features for a closed beta. The game isn't out yet, and they have all these features prepared. I'm just going to slide myself back over because it feels unusual to be on the right. Anyway, that's the notice. Very long video, so thanks for sticking around if you managed to see it to the end. Yeah, I'm hype. I'm hype, as you can probably see. I'm very excited for this game. I think it's going to be fun. It's nice to see a game launch with a bunch of features. In my personal experience from playing games for many, many, many years, you kind of have to accept when a game releases that is going to be the game. It's so rare that a game releases and changes in any drastic or measurable way. I think the exceptions prove the rule. You can probably think of a few games, but the vast majority of games, even if they're early access games on Steam or whatever, when they release, that is pretty much what you're going to get. So if you don't enjoy it, or if you do enjoy it, that's very telling, and that you don't kid yourself into thinking it's going to change too much. If a game comes out and you think, oh, this game's going to be amazing, they just need to add these features or this content, it almost never happens, or by the time it happens, it's too late. The fact that they're releasing with so much content, with all these different systems, with, you know, real-time PvP in, with co-op modes in, with the guild system in, the guild wars, it's really, really encouraging. They have so much content already launching. It sounds like pretty much a completed game already. I'm sure they have stuff to finish, but even from what I've played, the combat felt great. I have a lot of hopes for this game. It's great to see a game launching with so much content, and you can expect to see a whole load of videos coming up from me on this game, so I'll be spamming your feed about DragonHeir very soon. Anyway, hope to see you guys in the game very soon. Have a lovely day, guys. Take care, and bye-bye.